Okay, you guys, the three rules that be respectful, kind, and safe. And we always are. I'm always so proud of us. So the story that we have today is called Payday, and there are a few pictures. So let me start. It was Friday, and Pat could not wait. He had been thinking about payday all week long. He thought about it almost as he thought about his girlfriend, Ava. It was payday. It was hard for Pat to think about anything else. He made a list in his mind of the things that he wanted to buy with the money. Some of the things he wanted to buy was Friday night pizza, new razor blades, tickets to the movie with Ava, popcorn and snacks at the movie, a case of diet soda, groceries, a new video game called Planets versus Zombies, headphones, cookie dough ice cream, and a new baseball hat. And just as Pat was about to make his list longer, his friend Miles came by Pat's workstation. Hey, Pat, have you heard the news? Miles asked. No, what is it? Well, I heard a rumor we might not get paid today. Pat got really upset. Stop kidding, Miles, he said. No joke, my friend. Everyone's talking about it. If you don't believe me, there's a bunch of people in the break room talking about it right now. Oh, no. Pat had plans for that paycheck. The thought he might not get paid today made him feel really worried. He wanted to ask other people in the break room if the rumor was true. So he left his workstation and walked quickly to the break room. Miles was right about one thing. There are a lot of people there. Pat looked around and saw his girlfriend, Ava. She was on her break too and looking at her phone. Ava, have you heard we might not get paid today? Ava was surprised. No, no one told me that. Who told you? Miles said that people were talking about it in the break room. Well, just because Miles said it doesn't mean it's true, Ava said. But now she was worried also. She and Pat walked over to the other people. They asked if anyone had heard the rumor that they were not getting paid that day. No one had heard that. Do you see, Pat? It was just a rumor, Ava said. I better get back to work now. My break is over. Well, Pat needed to get back to work too. When he got back to his workstation, his supervisor, Mary, was there waiting for him. Hi, Pat, she said. Where have you been? Oh, well, I was in the break room. Miles told me that we might not get our paychecks today. He heard the rumor from people in the break room, so I went to find out for myself. I guess I should have asked you before I left my workstation. Yes, exactly, Mary said. And Mary reminded Pat that there were rules at work and Pat needed to follow those rules. They were there to keep people safe. When Pat left his workstation without letting Mary know, he broke a rule. Pat apologized and agreed he wouldn't do that again. Pat got back to work, but it was hard for him to focus. He was upset at himself for breaking a rule, and he was upset that he had let Mary down. Pat was also upset because he didn't know if he would have his paycheck that day. He really wanted to take Ava to the movies on Saturday night. He also wanted to order pizza that night and buy a new pair of headphones. He had plans for that paycheck. There was 1 hour left until lunch. Stop worrying, man, he said. Just think about doing your work. For the first half of the day, Pat's job was to fold cereal boxes, and the factory where Pat worked made different kinds of cereal. And the part of the factory where Pat worked, they made Fruit Loops. And here's a picture of Pat, and he's looking at that clock. You know how slowly the time can go if you're looking at a clock. After lunch, Pat helped to sweep the floor, and then he cleaned up around the big machines that made the Fruit Loops. Pat and his coworkers liked to joke that he was in charge of cleaning up the Fruit Loop poop. That was one of Pat's favorite jokes. Pat liked the people he worked with, especially Ava. He also liked his supervisor, Mary. Mary did everything she could to help Pat do well at work, and she knew that sometimes Pat got tired of folding boxes and cleaning up. She encouraged Pat to go to community college so he could get a better job with the company. Well, maybe someday, Pat would say to Mary. Pat didn't like the idea of going back to school. He didn't do well in school. It was difficult for him to learn, and he got very frustrated. But Pat's job was not difficult now. Even if it was sometimes boring, Pat didn't mind going each day to work. He had a girlfriend and other friends there and a supervisor he liked. He also had a paycheck to spend. Finally, it was lunchtime. When Pat got to the lunchroom, he looked around for Ava. They almost always sat together, which is where they met 6 months earlier in the lunchroom. They had been dating ever since. Everyone at work said that Ava and Pat were a nice couple. Ava's job at the factory was in the office. She did different things, including delivering mail, making copies, sending faxes, preparing envelopes and photos to be mailed, and shredding papers that shouldn't be put in the trash. While Pat waited for Ava to get to the lunchroom, he decided to ask some more coworkers about the paycheck rumor. A friend at one table said he heard there was a computer problem at the company that sends the paychecks, and he was worried too, just like Pat. At another table, however, people told Pat it was just a rumor. They told him not to worry, so Pat didn't know what to think or who to believe. But Pat really needed the paycheck. He didn't know how he would pay for the things he needed and wanted if he didn't get his paycheck. And then he wished he had saved some money instead of just thinking about saving money. If Pat had some money saved, he might not feel so worried. But Pat liked to spend his money. He liked to buy new things and go out to eat and pay for Ava's movie tickets. And then Pat spotted Ava across the lunchroom. Ava, Pat called to her. Ava heard Pat and walked over to the table where he was sitting. Have you heard anything more about our paychecks? Excuse me. My supervisor said there's a rumor going around, but it's only a rumor. You shouldn't worry about it. And Ava pulled her sandwich out of her lunch bag. But how will I take you to the movies tomorrow if I don't get paid? And how will I buy groceries? Ava, I can't help but worry, Pat said, and he hadn't even touched his lunch. Don't you have groceries at home? Ava asked. I do, but I don't want to eat that stuff, Pat said. And Ava thought for a moment. I have an idea. You like to make lists. How about we make a list of things we can do that don't cost any money? Like what? Pat asked. Well, like taking a walk in the park, going to a free concert downtown, hanging out at the library, going to the art museum on a free day. Well, there's lots of things that we can do that don't cost money, Ava said. And she was very pleased with her ideas. Well, I guess you're right. I will start that list, Pat said. And he took out his phone and opened an app that let him make lists on his phone. Together, Pat and Ava made a list of 10 things they could do that wouldn't cost any money. And then it was time to go back to work. After talking with Ava at lunch, Pat felt better. He knew there were things he could do that would not cost money. He was also finishing folding boxes for the day. It was time to sweep the Fruit Loop poop. Pat liked this part of his job because he got to walk around more. The afternoon passed by quickly. About 15 minutes before the end of the workday, the loudspeaker came on. It was the factory manager. Hello, everyone. This is Brian Brown. I believe that some of you have already heard that there has been a computer glitch at the company that processes our paychecks. We were hopeful that they would be able to fix the problem by the end of the day. Unfortunately, they are still working to fix the problem. This means that paychecks will be delayed until Monday morning. We are truly sorry about this. I have spoken with the company president about how we can make this up to you. She has agreed to add $100 to every person's paycheck. The office will remain open for an extra hour this afternoon to answer any questions you may have. I will also email any updates over the weekend. Again, we are very sorry. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Even though he had talked with Ava about things he could do that didn't cost any money, Pat was still upset. He walked to the office to find Ava, since she usually made him feel better. When Pat saw Ava, she was putting on her coat and looking at the line of people waiting to ask questions. Ava clocked out and met Pat outside the office. Hi, she said. I guess this rumor was true, huh? Yeah, I guess. What's everyone talking about in there? Well, most of the people in there need money before Monday to pay bills or feed their families. I don't know how the company is going to help them, but they're going to try. Do you need to pay any bills, Pat? No, I don't need to pay my rent for 2 more weeks, but my electrical bill and water bill are due at the end of next week. I hope the paycheck company fixes the computer problem by then. And Pat started biting his bottom lip. Ava could tell Pat was worrying. He usually bit his bottom lip when he was worrying. Well, I'm worried too. My supervisor said the paychecks will be here Monday morning, and all we can do right now is focus on saving the money we have and try to enjoy the weekend. Hey, you know what, Pat? I'm going to make spaghetti for dinner tonight if you'd like to come over, and then we could go for a walk in my neighborhood. What do you think? Ava had a very kind look on her face. She had just said that she was worried too, but she was still trying to make Pat feel better. Pat realized he only had been thinking about himself. Oh, hey, that sounds great. I'll come over, and I'm sorry, Ava, Sometimes I worry about things too much, Pat said. It's okay. We all worry, but it doesn't have to worry about things we can't control. And Pat nodded, and they hugged, and Pat kissed Ava on the cheek. I love you, Ava. See you tonight. And there they are. They're going for the walk in the neighborhood. Okay. After Ava and Pat ate dinner and would wash the dishes, they went for a walk. It was a nice warm evening, and a lot of Ava's neighbors were outside. Ava and Pat waved to people on their porches as they walked by. They talked about more things they could do together that didn't cost money. They turned a corner and saw a family playing basketball in the driveway. Hello, Ava greeted them as she and Pat got closer. Ava, it's so nice to see you, a woman said. Pat, this is my neighbor Carol and her family. Carol, this is my boyfriend Pat. And then Carol, then she remembered something. Carol, why don't you help people with your money? Is that your job? She asked. Well, I do. I'm a financial planner, Carol said. Can I help you with something? Well, not me, but maybe you can help Pat, Ava suggested. Ava looked at Pat and he nodded his head. They told Carol about their delayed paychecks, and Pat said he could use some help budgeting his money. Carol gave Pat her business card and told him to call her next week. As Pat and Ava walked back to Ava's house, they talked about what he could ask Carol. When they got inside, Pat grabbed a pen and a piece of paper. Time for a list, she said. So far, here are the questions I have. And Pat continued as he began making his list. Number 1, does a person need to have a lot of money for someone like you to help them? Number 2, what do you do with the money? Number 3, do you charge a fee for helping me? Number 4, can you help me pay my taxes? Did I forget anything? Pat asked Ava. No, I don't think so. What do you think about going to the library tomorrow? I heard there's a coffee shop inside now, and we could hang out there and check out some books and DVDs. Sure, Pat said, I'm in. And the couple kissed goodbye and Pat went home. As Pat walked home from his bus stop, he decided to send Ava an email. She had been such a big help to him that day, and he wanted to tell her that he appreciated her. When Pat turned on his computer and opened his email account, he saw an email with the subject, update on paychecks. He opened the email. It was from Brian, the factory manager. The computer problem was fixed, and everyone would have their paychecks on Monday morning, along with an extra $100 to make up for the inconvenience. And there's Pat looking at his computer. And he's getting the latest update. He was so relieved. And then he started to think about what he could buy with the extra $100. Maybe he could buy 2 new baseball hats instead of just 1. And then he shook his head. Come on, Pat, he said to himself. What are you thinking? You need to save that money, man. And he started typing an email to Ava. He thanked her for helping him. He told her that she made him happy. And then he realized he could make another list. At the top of the list, Pat typed, things I learned today. Number 1, it doesn't help to worry about things I can't control. Number 2, sometimes I only think about myself. Other people have problems also. Number 3, I need to start saving money. Number 4, there are a lot of fun things to do that don't cost anything. And number 5, I have the best girlfriend in the world. And he sent the email to Ava and turned off his computer, and he went to bed, and he started another list in his mind. Important people in my life. And that's our story. Now I want to read the chicken poem. Okay, and here's the illustration. Now, I don't know if these look like Kelly's chickens. She will tell us, but they're awfully pretty. And you can see
Wait,
there's a shadow.
go to that page right there. That might be the chicken we
No.
have.
Oh my gosh.
It is the chicken we have, yeah.
Well, let me read you the poem. It's called A Lucky Thing. High up in a hawthorn tree, a robin perched where he could see into a coop of wire and wood. And inside the coop, a farmer stood flinging grain upon the ground. 12 fat chickens gathered round. The robin, singing, cocked his head and watched the chickens being fed. He saw it was a lucky thing to be a chicken. Farmers bring you golden grain, scoop after scoop, if you're a chicken in a coop. A lovely coop with a nesting box, safe from cats and crows and foxes. The chickens in the coop could see the bird. They heard his melody and clucked. It was a lucky thing to be a robin who could sing a song upon a hawthorn tree. And they watched him through the woven wire, and they saw him flying up high and higher. 12 fat chickens scratched the floor. The farmer closed and latched the door. Okay, and those are Kelly's chickens, she said. All right, you guys. Well, now we can all join in again. If we can, let me see, I think we've got time. Yep, we've got plenty of time. Okay, so here's my first question. Would you guys rather be a chicken or a robin up in the sky? Do I have any? How many people would like to be a chicken? That you get fed every day, you get a beautiful coop to live in. Okay, we've got one vote for Ed. Is that right, Ed? Would you like to be a chicken in a beautiful chicken coop?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the
Mike.
farmer comes or Kelly comes and gives you grain every day. And you're safe from those foxes.
And also Michael.
Rose, Michael, we would vote for Michael, yeah. Okay. All right, okay, who else is, oh, okay, Jessica's here. Okay, we've got any more votes for the chickens? Okay, okay, you guys. All right, so who would like to be the robin? Oh,
I would.
okay, Kate and Frank. A robin, a bird that flies in the sky above the chicken coop. Anybody want to fly today?
Aaron.
I'll
Aaron,
vote
oh,
for
Aaron's got her, okay, Miss Aaron. Molly, what about you, lady?
Would you rather be a chicken or a robin? Molly? What is that?
I just said,
A chicken or a robin?
I think, but I don't know.
I think she'd rather be a chicken or a rooster.
A rooster, yeah. Okay, another vote for the chicken crew. All right, Molly, thank you. Oh, Anne's got her hand up. Okay. Anne, that's a vote for the robin?
Yes, yep.
Yeah,
the ramen.
yeah.
Mhm.
Robin, okay, good, all right.
What about you, Jessie?
Keep putting in the chat.
Oh, she did. What about you, Frank?
Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Frank down for the robin, that's true.
And Aaron's robin?
And Aaron said robin, yeah. Those are two different perspectives. That was a great little short story in a poem. Robin flying over or contained safely in your little chicken coop. So either way, life is good, huh? And what about that story Payday, you guys? Does anybody here have a savings account? Is that something